Everybody, welcome back to Pushing Pixels. I'm your host, Sam Mestis. Another assignment from my Photoshop 101 class. This is something we do a lot. I should give credit to these tutorials. A lot of these tutorials are sort of Corey Barker tutorials, and I've kind of thrown my own stink on them. But at the base of them is Corey Barker, and you should look up his books if you haven't gotten a chance. He's a super great Photoshop artist and a great educator. And I listen to everything he says. He's super smart. So we're going to make a brush out of this lightning bolt, and you can make Photoshop paintbrushes out of pretty much anything. And today we're going to use this lightning bolt, and we're not even going to use it for lightning when we're done. We're going to use it for something else, because lightning can be other things. So let's start. Let's turn this into a Photoshop brush. I have this picture of this lightning, and let's see how large it is. It's tiny. It's 11 by 7 at 72 dots per inch. Which doesn't matter, it'll work for us. First thing we got to do though is turn it black and white. And there's a way to do that. There's a couple ways. If you go to Image, Adjustments, you can desaturate it right there. It says Desaturate, Image, Adjustments, Desaturate. Or you can use the hotkey, which is what I'm going to do. Command-Shift-U will turn that to black and white, and mostly gray, quite honestly. But, what did I click? Did I get Tab in there? I did get Tab in there. Sorry about that. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in a little too much, personally. That's fine. Alright, so what we really need, though, is the whites. That's kind of all we're looking for, is just the whites. So let's level this image a bit. If you hit Command-L, that'll bring up the Levels dialog, or you can go to Image, Adjustments, Levels right there. But Command-L is Levels, and we're going to use that. And what we need to do is get the whites happening, because there's just not enough whites. But not adding white, because there's plenty of white there, it's already blown out, but we're subtracting everything else. So, having said that, I'm going to drag over the black slider, and you can control all sorts of things with these levels. If I want to increase the whites, I can crank them up by grabbing the white slider here. If I want to increase the gammas, the midtones, I can do that as well. But I really want to push the blacks. I want more black, and get rid of all that gray stuff too. And I'm just going to keep sliding over. Maybe to, I don't know, let's keep going. Let's see how far we can get here. How about, I bet 150 will get us there. Let's just try 150. Close enough. And now all we really get is this, this nice lightning bolt here. And that'll work perfect for what we need. Slid my black slider so it says 150 over there. Looks pretty good. Got what I needed, and I'm going to click OK. Now, to make a paintbrush, our brush needs to be black on a white background, and I have just the opposite, so we need to invert it. Command-I will invert it. And if you don't want to use Command-I, you can go to, where is that? Selection. I always forget where they put that. I never use them. Image, Adjustments, Invert, right there, Command-I. We'll get you there too. It's in the Image Adjustments. Okay, so perfect. I have my brush now. I have it as black on white, and now we can sort of define this brush. Before I do that, though, I'm going to do one thing I didn't do in class. I'm going to grab this square marquee tool right here, this rectangular marquee, and I'm going to put a selection just kind of around it a little bit, like right there. This will define what will be my brush. You don't necessarily have to do this, but for this I'm going to. Alright, so there we go. What's inside the bounding box will be my brush. Go up to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and I'm going to call this Lightening. There we go. I don't know if I spelled that right or not. L-I-G-H-T. Lightning. There we go. Save, and now my brush is defined. If you need to deselect, it's Command-D. We'll deselect. And now we don't even need this anymore. We're done. We made our brush. I'm just going to close it. I'm not going to save it. Because if you go up into your brushes, you can see it's already right there. It's been stored in my brush file, and it'll be the very last brush in your brush pull down menu. You can see I've already made another one. It'll be the very last brush you made, so there it is. Alright, I gave you guys this file too. It's called Broken. And what we're going to do now is use that paintbrush to paint on this layer. So let's put a layer below this text. This project I gave you has a text layer, and it has this background layer. But we need a brush in between them. So hold on your command, with Broken selected, hold on your command key and click the new layer button down here. And it is going to put a layer in between. I'm going to click OK. It didn't do it. Come on. Boing. There it went. Right in between. and we'll call that cracks. There we go. This is where we're going to paint our lightning on. So now we're not going to use lightning as lightning. We're going to use it as cracks in this stone background. And I'm going to sneeze real quick. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Ugh, that was painful. All right, so on our new layer, go to the brush tool right here, or just hit B. B will bring up your brush tool. And make sure black is your foreground color right here. Make sure black is your foreground. If it's not, you can hit the D key and it'll reset your colors again. All right, so on that layer with our brush tool, make sure everything is happening here. I don't know how big my brush tool is. Let's find out. Oh, there we go. There it is. Bracket keys will resize your brush. Left bracket, right bracket. So I'm going to scale it up a little bit. And just so you can see what it looks like, you can kind of see it looks like a crack in the concrete. All right. So before we get going painting cracks into this thing, I want to do one more little thing. It doesn't quite look like a crack because the light isn't hitting it, sort of weird. So I'm going to double click on that cracks layer, and we're going to set a bevel emboss. And let's see what I got. Ooh, actually that worked out awesome already. That looks great. Let me show you my settings for that. You can see without it. Let me zoom in a bit. So you can see the highlight catches, and it kind of looks like it divots a bit. If I turn it off, not much happening there, but if I turn it on, now it looks like it's actually cracking that concrete a bit. So here's my settings for that. Inner bevel, set to smooth. Depth is 400. That's high. Size is 3. That's low, but it's working really well. Angle 30, altitude 30, and I use this gloss contour. If you click the pull down, you can see all the contours that are available to you. So using this sort of gloss contour helps it bevel a bit more. Screen set to 75, it's white. Multiply, shadow mode set to multiply, it's at 75. And that's pretty much it. And you can see what a great job it does. And I'm going to click OK, turn off my magnifier. That's not too bad. All right, so we're going to paint with this lightning brush, and we're going to make all sorts of cracks and stuff like that. The thing we do need to fix, though, is we need to randomize this brush as we paint it. I want it to be random. I want the brush to flip around and twist a bit and do all sorts of things. So before we do that, we need to go to our brush tool. And where is my brush tool? That's not it. Get over there. There we go. Come back there. There we go. There's my brush tool right there. There's my brush settings. And you can see when you look at it, my brush is twisting and turning and doing all sorts of weird things. So how do I set that up? Well, first of all, I got to set my pen tips. I got to put some space between them. So I got a little bit too much. It's a little too tight there for me. So I'm going to set my pen tip spacing about 25, and that basically just spreads the brush out. 25 looks good. I'm going to go to Shape Dynamics, make sure that's turned on. Turn my size jitter to 100. Size jitter 100. And then I'm going to turn the angle jitter to 100. And I'm going to set my pin pressure to, or I'm going to set my control to pin pressure. All right? Size jitter 100, angle jitter 100, pin pressure set. Okay? That's all we're going to do. Close that out. Because now when I start clicking around, it's going to start randomizing the size of my brush a little bit. So as I click around, you can see it's starting to add brushes. And this brush is a little big, so I may scale it down just a bit now. It's kind of large. Maybe that's too small. All right, so you can see I'm starting to put, and I'm just randomly clicking around now. I kind of want it to look like, might even be still a little bit too big. I'm going to click some more small ones here. Maybe some small ones here. Through that. How about there's some there. I'm just going to keep going crazy till I have a lot of cracks in this. I want it to look like it's aged pretty good. And maybe scale up a little bit. And some bigger cracks here. Right, so I'm going all the way around my letters here. All right, nice. Let's just stop there. I don't want to go too nuts. All right, so one final thing I need to do is I want to see the cracks through this concrete or through this lettering. I want to be able to see all those cracks. And the way I'm going to do that is with a blend mode. So if you go to your text mode, your text layer here, that guy right there, change the blend mode right here to overlay. And when I do that, you'll see that the cracks are coming through. It's a little bit tough to read. And it's kind of too tough to read. One thing I may do with this, on that text layer, I'm going to double click it. I may put an outer glow behind it and make it black. And it is set to multiply. And maybe set the size down just a bit. I want it to kind of stand out a little bit from the background, and I think this will kind of help me. Maybe if I turn the opacity up to, yeah, a little bit better. You could sort of see it now. It jumps off a little bit. If I turn it off, you'll see the difference. It's kind of subtle, and that's what you want. You want it to be a little bit subtle. That'll help it jump off a little bit. Not too bad. There you go. I used 50 as opacity, multiply, and the size is 51. Great. And there you go. And that's how you would do something like that. Bevel really helps that thing out, really sells it. Anyway, that's kind of how we did it in class. All right, everybody. Practice, 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 and enjoy. You guys have a good day.